E aí pessoal, começando o segundo podcast do Worldcraft. Eu sou o Richard Bentham e eu que fui um entrevistado do podcast passado. Eu fui convidado pelo Diego para ser o entrevistador e vou estar conduzindo esse podcast muitíssimo especial. Antes de tudo, muito obrigado, Diego, pela oportunidade. Agradecer infinitamente, Diego, por ter arrumado tudo isso. Beijinho, Diego. E, eu não sei nem como eu vou introduzir esse nosso convidado muitíssimo especial. Eu podia ler o currículo dele aqui, mas eu ia gastar o dia inteiro fazendo isso. Então, sem mais delongas, and you're gonna get used to my bad English. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Toby Gard. Hi Toby, how are you?
Hi there, I'm good, thanks.
Well, first of all, thank you so much for this interview. We're very happy for having accepted.
Oh, no problem.
So, I looked for some information about you on the internet before this interview, watched some videos, read some biographies, articles, your personal site that is very good, by the way.
Thank you.
And what really impressed me is that I didn't find out what's your age. So, just for curiosity, how old are you now, Mr. Toby Gard?
I am now 38.
I thought you were younger, but that's that's not that old too. So
I wish I was younger.
So you're a very flexible professional, aren't you? You work as a designer, voice director, consultant. Which of these positions you like most?
I actually like all of the types of things that I've done involved with games. I think it's fascinating the way that you bring together story and design and animation and writing in order to make, interactive experiences. So I'm interested in all of those things, and I think that where they cross is where the most interesting parts of games are.
Yeah, that's right. One thing ends up leading to another one. So
right, and balancing them correctly so that neither one detracts from the other. That's the hard part.
When did this passion of yours for drawings, design, art started? This usually is something that manifests very early in our lives. Was it what you always wanted to do? Did you have any inspiration, any favorite heroes, superheroes, or something that made you say, "Whoa, that's what I wanna work with for the rest of my life"?
Actually, it wasn't a person. Well, I suppose it was a team, but it was playing Ultra Underworld is what made me decide I had to get into computer games. I couldn't believe, when I first played that game, I could hardly believe that it was a real game because it was so amazing for the time. And realizing that you could create a world and actually be inside it and have kind of freedom to do to make a story of your own, be a character within what is basically a film, or basically a very simple polygonal film, just blew my mind, and I wanted to be able to make games like that. So that was what set me on the path.
And from that point that you started working with art, studying this, that's right?
Well, that was when I started to. That's when I wanted to get into games. I mean, I guess I started getting into art when I was very young, right? So I was drawing monsters when I was still in primary school. That was the main thing I liked to draw: monsters, lots of monsters. And then I suppose I started getting into comics only later. I was pretty late getting into comics, kind of around after I was in my late teens. And I think that I was really influenced by Katsuhiro Otomo and Simon Bisley, and kind of a strange group. I guess obviously the big ones like Frank Miller and so forth. But I still didn't know what I wanted to get into because I like writing, I like drawing, I like computers, and it took me a long time to put all of those things together and go, oh yeah, games, there's all of that, and decided to go down that path.
And did you went to college to study art? Where did you study?
I went to college in Southend in England, in Essex, and that was a Southend Tech. It was a small college on the sea, south coast of England.
Well, that's quite interesting because I always thought that video games were what you always wanted to work with. At least in my generation, I'm 17 now. This idea of working with video games is much more normal.
Yeah, I mean, well, I guess when I was very young, the kinds of games that were around were really simplistic 2D types of games, and they've never really excited me enormously. And it wasn't until things went 3D that I became very interested, because that was when I realized that you could create experiences rather than just toys.
Well, now speaking of the creation of Lara Croft, you must have been asked this 1,000 times, but let's do it. How did it happen? I've already seen in other interviews that you basically wanted to do the opposite of the majority of the games that existed back in that times.
Yeah.
So, in other words, what was released were games with strongman American heroes, and you wanted to make something different. But behind that idea, there was something else, some other purpose, at least for you, or it was just let's do the opposite and see what turns out.
Oh, well, no, I mean, the idea for me was an interactive movie. That's what I was trying to make. I was trying to make Ultima Underworld crossed with Virtua Fighter, and then that was the basis for the idea for the game, and then the character came from just an exploration of multiple characters for that game. When I first originally pitched the game idea, which nobody wanted to make, I pitched it with male character because I was just only interested in the idea for the concept of the game, and then I was told by the then like studio head designer that every game has to have 3 characters in it to be, you know, successful. So I had to come up with 3 characters. So I made the second character I made was a female character, and then I just stopped because I instantly was so attracted to this one character that I decided that I didn't want to make a third character, and I didn't want the first character either. I just wanted this one character. I was really obsessed with it, and that was that. And I just wouldn't let go of that one character, which became Lara Croft.
Well, so now let's talk about this new Tomb Raider. This recent reboot has pissed off a lot of fans, and I'm one of them. The order is forget everything you've ever seen about Tomb Raider, but this is not quite easy nor fair, right? Because we are fans of Tomb Raider for what it has been, not for what it may be. So, back in 2009, on your page on LinkedIn, you posted that you were leading a design team for an unannounced project of Crystal Dynamics, what made a lot of people speculate that it could be a new Tomb Raider. So, it was really Tomb Raider 9. What happened, and what do you think about this new reboot?
Well, I can't talk about any projects that happened at Crystal, especially not projects that didn't make it. So I just can't comment on that. And then in terms of what they're doing with Tomb Raider 9, I think that, or whatever it's called, Ascension. Well, no, what is it called? The new one, anyway. I'm sure that, I mean, basically, that I know for a fact from working with Crystal that there is a group of guys and girls who care really, really about Lara Croft and about creating an excellent game that they're hoping very much are going to please not just the fans but also a new audience as well. I know how dedicated they all are. I know how hard they work. So I think that alone really should be enough to give them plenty of benefit of the doubt that they're going to do something that's going to be impressive and is going to make people, you know, as many people as possible happy. But I don't think you can ever keep everybody happy. I don't think that's ever possible. But I know that they're people who care very much about the character and about the games.
Let's talk about the first reboot that happened in the franchise with Tomb Raider Legend. I believe we can call it a Persia reboot because it wasn't as extreme as this last one. But what do you believe that have gone wrong with the production of Legend Anniversary and Underworld? Because let's be honest, if something hadn't gone wrong, there wouldn't be any need of a new reboot.
Well, I I think there's lots of problems with it, really. But I mean, the bottom line is that it didn't. I think it annoyed a lot of fans, really. I think that's probably the biggest problem. I mean, they sold relatively well, and I think they got quite a few new audience people, and the new audience people didn't mind it so much. But I think the issue was that the old audience, the real core fans, didn't like the direction of the story and the character, and possibly the gameplay too within the newer games. So there you go.
Well, some things that you said have something to do with the next question, so instead of commenting, I'll just ask. The major critics of the fans about Crystal Dynamics trilogy were about the game's longevity and easiness, even more when compared to core designers games. So, were you aware of these issues while predicting it? What was the objective? You were trying to increase the number of gamers, don't take too much risks, try to create a solid basis.
Yes, I'm not enormously surprised about that one. I mean, the whenever you try and increase the fidelity on the moment by moment basis, then you either have to do a lot of reuse or you're going to get a shorter game, and that's one of the issues the old games industry is up against, right? And you've got games like Red Dead Redemption or whatever, and they can make a game that size because of the sheer amount of money they put into it, right? Far more than Tomb Raider Underworld would have cost.